Welcome to RJ Academy, and today I will teach you Class 12, Chapter Indigo. We are studying the work of author Louis Fisher. His documentation of these events is a guaranteed high-yield topic for your board exams. You will regularly see 5-mark and 2-mark questions pulled directly from this text. This chapter is an excerpt from Fisher's highly regarded book detailing the early activism of Mahatma Gandhi in India. Before we go any further, pause the video, grab a pen and a notebook. You need to build a timeline with me, because this chapter features over 10 different characters and multiple crucial dates. Passively listening to this story will leave you confused on test day, but if you actively construct this chronological study map right now, you will be able to perfectly answer any exam question they throw at you. Let's put our first point on the timeline. 1916. The Indian National Congress is holding its convention in Lucknow. Here, we meet a poor, emaciated sharecropper named Rajkumar Shukla. Shukla had a single, unyielding goal: to get Gandhi's help fighting an oppressive landlord system. He relentlessly followed Gandhi to Kanpur, to the ashram in Ahmedabad, and finally to Calcutta, until Gandhi agreed to take up his cause. This map shows their physical journey. From Calcutta, the two board a train to Patna, making their way toward the Champaran district, which sits right at the foothills of the Himalayas near Nepal. Upon arriving in Patna, Shukla takes Gandhi to the house of a prominent local lawyer, Rajendra Prasad. Circle this name in your notes, as he later becomes the president of the Congress Party. Prasad wasn't home, and his servants treated Gandhi poorly. Assuming Gandhi was just another untouchable peasant, they completely blocked him from drawing water from the well. They feared a single drop from his bucket would pollute their entire water source. This well incident illustrates the deeply ingrained social prejudices Gandhi had to navigate. Before he could even begin fighting the British oppressors, he had to navigate severe class divisions among Indians themselves. Realizing he needed more concrete information before stepping directly into Champaran, Gandhi made a strategic detour to Muzaffarpur to gather unbiased facts. Pay close attention to this next step, because students constantly mix up these two characters on exams. First is Professor J.B. Kripalani. He was an arts college professor who waited at the train station at midnight to pick Gandhi up. Second is Professor Malkani, a government school teacher who hosted Gandhi for 2 days. This was an extraordinary act of defiance. For a government employee like Malkani to harbor an outspoken freedom fighter during British rule meant risking his livelihood and inviting severe retaliation. While in Muzaffarpur, local lawyers briefed Gandhi on the sharecroppers' court cases. When Gandhi heard the exorbitant fees they were charging these already impoverished peasants, he scolded the lawyers heavily. He concluded that legal action was ineffective as long as the peasants were too frightened to speak. To achieve anything in court, they first had to be liberated from their own fear. This diagram shows the core economic trap of Champaran, the 15% sharecropping arrangement. Under this contract, Indian peasants planted indigo crops on exactly 15% of their rented land and surrendered the entire harvest to the landlords as rent. Take a look at this image showing the processing vats. The labor required to fulfill this indigo quota was immense, grueling, and entirely uncompensated for the farmers. This flowchart shows how the economics abruptly shifted. Germany invented cheap, synthetic indigo. Almost overnight, the global price of natural indigo crashed, making the Champaran crops completely worthless to the British. Knowing this, the landlords played a deceitful trick. They offered to release the peasants from the 15% contract, framing it as a favor. In exchange for this freedom, they demanded cash compensation. Many peasants paid up. But when the illiterate farmers finally learned about the German synthetic indigo, they realized they had been conned and demanded their money back. In response, the landlords unleashed hired thugs to beat them into submission. This shift from a land rent system to direct financial extortion is what escalated a local commercial grievance into a widespread confrontation that required national leadership. Armed with these facts, Gandhi moved his headquarters to Motihari, the capital of Champaran, to begin his on-the-ground investigation. Hearing that a peasant in a nearby village had been severely beaten, Gandhi set out the next morning on the back of an elephant. Mid-journey, a police superintendent's messenger intercepted him. The messenger handed Gandhi an official legal notice. The order was direct: quit Champaran immediately. Gandhi accepted the notice and signed the receipt. But right there on the paper, he wrote a clear declaration: he would disobey the order. Consequently, he was issued a summons to appear in court the very next day. The next morning, the town of Motihari experienced a complete blackout. Thousands of peasants had heard their champion was in trouble, and they surrounded the courthouse in massive numbers to show their support. The British officials were terrified by the sheer scale of the crowd. The power dynamic of the entire region shifted into collective Indian defiance. Look down at the notes you've taken. You now possess a complete, timeline-accurate study sheet mapping out the entire first half of this chapter. You've mastered the core conflict and the economic trap. To find out exactly how Gandhi outsmarts the British legal system in court, you need to watch part 2. Having this logical progression mapped out is your definitive tool for scoring full marks on any exam question related to this text. Notes of this chapter is in the description. Catch you next time.